focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and...
Hello, viewers, and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network, right here in the city of Port Harcourt. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform, through which trending political news, events, and stories are discussed with stakeholders, and through these conversations, Atlantic Television Network uses political talks about specific issues, party systems, and actors to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. I am your host for today, Raymond Ken Mbata, standing in for Laurentia Ogu. On today's topics for discussion is Bayelsa State. Silva claims Governor Diri is employing diversionary tactics. In Abia State, PDP irks over delay in lawmakers' inauguration. In Ekiti State, APC passes vote of confidence on Governor Yebanji. In Kano State, the governor says Bayero was never emir and wants security agencies. In Katsina State, the PDP caretaker committee refutes misleading information. In the National Assembly, Rivers Reps Caucus calls for discipline on Ugochiri. Also, Rivers APC rates Governor Fubara -0. And the Rivers Organized Labor asks the police to vacate the local government secretariats. And in Labour Party, Obi did not create obedient movement by Aisha Yusufu. Also, in politics, article gives reasons for visiting former President Buhari. Our guests for today are on standby. We'll go for the short break, and when we return, we'll introduce our guests and we'll head straight into discussions. Stay tuned and happy Sunday.
Confident.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people. All of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human trafficker.
Honourable
You're a human
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said $3,000 is 1,000 to collect $3,000. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people. All of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money.
Good to have you back on Open Air, right here in Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt this Sunday morning. And our guest for today, we have a political analyst, Emi Ferga, with us right here in the studios. You're welcome, sir.
Pleasure meeting you.
It's a pleasure, sir.
And I'm so happy.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Also with us here is a political analyst, Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, happy Sunday, Rich. And I also thank God that it is a Sunday, as they say in Nigeria. And we thank God we are still living in borrowed peace in Rivers State. So far, so good.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let's head straight into topics for discussion for today. The first one being former Petroleum Minister Timipri Silva has claimed that the governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, is employing diversionary tactics to distract his case at the appeal court. Silva said the governor's directive to his attorney general ordering his prosecution over the death of one Judge Sibo in the last governorship elections shows that he has become desperate. The former governor recalled that Diri had abandoned a phantom EFCC case he conjured to distract him and had devised another style in a failed attempt to stop him and the All Progressive Congress from concentrating on their case. He insisted that Diri's new plot was dead on arrival, adding that he knows nothing about the death of Judge Sibo, whom he described as an illustrious and promising youth of the state. Matters at hand shows that, to you, sir, Emi Ferga, sir, matters at hand shows that Governor Diri has instituted court cases or has ordered the Attorney General of Bayelsa State to proceed on prosecuting former Governor Timipri Silva concerning the death during the elections of one Judge Sibo who was buried over the weekend. And Silva claims that these are diversionary tactics aiming to distract he and his party from the case they have concerning the elections at the appeal court. Are the fears of Silva justified that he is being distracted, or the governor has a very good case in instituting criminal proceedings against former Governor Silva, sir?
I think I sincerely want to sympathize with the family of the deceased. You know, it's not really an easy thing to lose a loved one. And when you are mourning for your dead and you hear people, you know, talking about the dead in a manner of politics and trying to score cheap political points and all that, you know, it increases the pains of the family of the deceased. So I wish the family of the we just see this as one of those politics and try to move on with their lives and not to be employed to the era of more sorrows, you know, and mourning for their loved one. That is for that. I think in the political terrain, I think sometimes the way we play politics in this part of the world, it amazes me so much, you know. Politics is not a do or die event or affair. It is a means for which the citizens are allowed, you know, to exercise their franchise, you know, in choosing government or to reject a government. But politicians are turned into a do or die affair, as Obasanjo rightly posited during his eras, you know, and many politicians have begun to build on it and say that if I don't win, then everything must be destroyed. It must be me or it must not be you. these are some of these things that are causing the death of people during elections. So I think Timi Priesiva on his side, you are being accused of murder. All I expected you to do is just to, prepare yourself. When you go there, you tender your evidence that you are innocent. You know nothing about the death of the young man, a Bayasan for that matter, and that is that. And then for Doyediri, I wonder why he's trying to amplify something that is so, very grievous, try to increase the sorrow of the family of the deceased. Somebody died. All you are doing is that, you are persecuting, you are going to prosecute, you are going to do this, you are ordering Attorney General to do this. It becomes political. You see, people will see it as one of those political shenanigans that politicians will always engage in order to distract their opponent, or maybe to score some political points on media and the rest of it. If you have evidence against somebody, why don't you just do it? Attorney General, go to the court, file a criminal case against him, and let former Governor Timi Priesiva come and defend himself, and that is all. But you amplify this thing, trying to paint a picture as if you are innocent of Bayelsa woes. The Bayelsa today is facing a lot of economic challenges. So when we talk about Nigeria having misery in Nigeria, having a high unemployment rate, Nigeria doing this or that. But if you check, so many persons forget that the Nigeria we are talking about is a conglomeration of states. 36 states at the FCT. And according to our law, the ground norm, say that every Nigeria belongs to a state. Say, these states that make up the federation called Nigeria, where you have one of such states as Bayelsa. So it is the unemployment rate in Bayelsa joined with the one of Rivers and every other state together. That is what we call the Nigerian unemployment rate. When we say people are suffering today, it is the suffering of the people collected from the local government, from the communities to the local government to the states, from the states. The summary of it all, that's say Nigerians are suffering. But the Nigerians are resident in states. They are resident in local governments. And in those local governments, there are chairmen, there are governors. I expected Doyediri, to be giving Bayelsa people dividends of democracy, trying to create agriculture, create industry, ensure that you have a electricity market where you will be generating, distributing, and transmitting your electricity. Okay. You are not doing that. All you are doing is trying to, to win Bayelsa to believe it that you are there, you are fighting for them. Fighting for them in what areas where there is more suffering? As one of the oil-producing states, one of the richest states in Nigeria, to the work I will release about Bayelsa, 8 years is running now. This is the second time, isn't it? So what can we point today that this is what Doyediri has done in terms of development in Bayelsa? Say, nothing. If not done nothing, people are shouting, F-where, have exacerbated the suffering of Nigerians and all that. And majority of the proceed from the subsidy removal is going to Bayelsa State. Yeah. The governor you are receiving is, so what have you done in terms of building modular refinery like Edo State, in terms of maybe building some palliative, encouraging people, allowing them to form cluster, that you give grants and loans, or you try to train youth in skill empowerment or whatever, you're doing nothing. Okay. All you are doing is just try to divert the attentions of Bayelsians so that they will question how you are spending the huge resources that are coming to the state, and the people are suffering and living in abject poverty. Okay, so I think Doyediri is not making any sense to me, in fact.
It's okay, sir. Mr. Fine Ugochukwu, sir. Concerning the death of this young man, George Sibo, we have to chart a way concerning our electoral processes that is not going to lead either by omission or commission to the death of anybody at all. There are a lot of elections that took place within the past 2 weeks around the world, both in India, both in Western Europe, and there were no reports about people dying.
I mean, the South African election.
Yes, even in South Africa.
The president was just inaugurated last
Exactly.
week.
And recently, to replace the vice president, the late vice president of Malawi. Exactly. And nobody died. In fact, a former comedian mounted us too, to tell you how lighthearted these matters ought to be. Could you chart a way forward to show Nigerians and the political class what to do or how to conduct affairs in order not to drag the death of anybody, not just a young man, but of anybody during our electoral processes, sir?
Thank you, Rich, and let me borrow the words of Mefa Haga here. He said that in Nigeria, like Obasanjo put it, elections should not be a do-or-die affair. But because election in Nigeria is about personal interest, the slogan of coming to serve the people in Nigeria is for the people to serve you. But we know that if you want to be a servant, they let Pope John Paul, who is now a saint, who was the head of the Roman Catholic Church, you know, when he ascended to the papal throne, he chose the name. He said he's the servants of Christ. Serva Servatorum Dei, that he is serving the people that are serving Christ. And that is the example that Christ said. That's why you see the likes of Mahatma Gandhi say that when he wanted to taunt Christians, he said, I love your Christ, but I don't love you because you don't do the bidding of your Christ. This is who we are in Nigeria. This is us. This is our politics. That's why a whole lot of school of thoughts in Nigeria has come to ask the Nigerian state to choose an acronym for the type of democracy they practice. Because this is not the division of democracy, where you say democracy is the government of the people, for the people and by the people. But in Nigeria, it is a personalized business, like you know that the city minister will put it sagaciously. He will say that we are in this business, and this is the only business that we know. Exactly. So when politicians make such statements, you find out that it is no longer going into governance to serve the interests of the people, which is the primary duty of any elected leader, to safeguard, to provide, make sure that people, their welfare is taken care of, and their security. But you could see millions of Nigerians now going to bed hungry, that are not even sure when they wake up, that they are where their meal will come from. So that is what has accumulated into the bad election that we have in Nigeria, because the politicians have redefined what politics ought to be. Because if you see it as a service, you will not engage people to hoodwink the vote or kill for you to ascend the throne. The people you want to govern, you want to lead, you are killing them. For the one that happened in Bayelsa State, my dear, there is no form of Electoral Act amendment that you will do that will assuage the death of people on election day. The question is who and how many will be killed. Because if they don't kill the people that are in the opposing side, they begin to kill themselves because of the monies that are changing hands. So it begins even from the that from the delegate level. So you find out that what happened in Bayelsa State, I want to say that it is a diversionary, tactics, as the professor has put it.
Okay.
In as much as I condole with the family of George Sibo and condemn the killing of anyone in the, but it's the politicians and also the youth who have made themselves ready tools in their hands to be used. Because if you don't have appetite, as a youth, you are doing a legitimate business, and what you have is enough for you, you will not be looking for where to get free monies to work for a politician who you will say you have installed into power or whatnot. Okay. So that led to the death of this young man. Okay. And on the part of the governor, for the governor to be using the death of the young man who has been buried now, who would have been allowed to rest in peace, to start a litigation with the name of the said young man. It is an affront and uncharitable on the dead. So what my input here is this. Doediri has a lot of things to offer to Bayelsa. Remember, Bayelsa State is the smallest state in Nigeria and has about 8 local governments. Like MFS said, how is their life? How is the average life of a Bayelsan? Okay. And what is the governor doing with the idea? You remember, Nigerians now don't talk about the security vote that the governors get. That we've been asked, what are they using it to do? We are now concentrating on the monies that are accruing from the removal of the fuel subsidy. Exactly. Everybody seems to have forgotten that the governors still receive what do you call it, security votes. Exactly. And if you go by the words of Governor Uti of Abia State, most of the things that he's doing is also dipping his hands into that security vote to do it. So if Governor Doediri will not concentrate on lifting and bettering the lot of Bayelsans who are not so much in number, what do you think? Talk about other states that have 8 million, 7 million citizens to cater for. So let him forget about these tactics. Okay. Let him allow the Temipri Silva to have his day with the appeal court as regards the election. Right. If there is any fallout in the election, or if there is anything that Doediri has about, let him present it. He would have submitted in the tribunal. He would have submitted as to back up his case. Okay. But for him to employ it as a tactics at this moment to distract the ongoing litigation about the outcome of the election, whether it was marred by violence or not, using the death of the young man. People have been dying in Nigeria during elections, unfortunately. But how many people has we seen their name being fronted and those people who are involved, being prosecuted? Okay. So this is it. So I believe that this is a tactics employed by the governor to distract the opponent against the case that is pending at the appeal court.
All right. Taking a cue from there, let's move over to Abia State, where the People's Democratic Party has expressed anger over the 6-month delay in the inauguration of Honorable Aaron Uzodike, who was re-elected as a member representing Aba North State constituency in the 2023 elections. The party said the inauguration was unduly delayed despite the issuance of certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission on December 13th, 2023, following a court order. In an interview with journalists in Umuahia, the vice chairman of the PDP in Abia State, Abraham Ama, condemned the failure of the Abia State House of Assembly Speaker, Right Honorable Emmanuel Emerowa, to inaugurate the re-elected lawmaker, even as time was running out. Yes, sir, Fiaga, sir. What is the political play here concerning the delay in the inauguration of the PDP member of the Abia State House of Assembly, sir?
This is political aberration. You see, we operate a constitutional democracy, and that law provides that Nigerians should be represented according to the constituency that they are being elected. If after elections, and the law provides that you can go to the court to seek a redress if you are aggrieved, and the process is went through the tribunal to the appeal, because issue of House of Assembly, House of Reps, and the Senate ends at the appeal court. And the processes were followed, and at the end of the day, the Court of Appeal declared somebody elected, and INEC, following that court decision, gave the winner the returned ticket, meaning the person is duly elected. And you say you are doing the man, you are not necessarily, undoing the man, or politically trying to inflict some level of political suffering on the man, but it is that state constituency that you actually deny representation and all dividends of democracy that is accrued to them that ought to be debated in the State House of Assembly. That is what is happening. I've always told people that Nigerian situation is not really about political party. It's all about attitude, the way we perceive public office, the way we behave when we are given opportunity to assume any position of leadership. That is the situation. Some people say PDP is bad, APC is bad, oh, Labour Party is angel, and all that. But what we are seeing today now, this is action that we have been seeing, or we have seen several times, isn't it? Happening by somebody who is a member of Labour Party, assuming God, disdainfully disrespecting institution of the states, like the Court of Law and the INEC, who so returned the person as the duly elected member representing a constituency in the Federal Republic of Nigeria in a particular constituency. Right? Yes. It's a man from Labour. Now, if somebody who have posited himself or defined himself to be an angel doing this thing right now, what do we make up of that situation? At Abuja, we have APC as the majority party, right? The majority party and the leading party today at the federal level. In the Senate, APC had the majority number. In the House of Reps, APC have the majority number. There are people who were elected under the platform of Labour Party in the House of Rep and in the Senate, right? Yes. The Speaker of House of Rep did not refuse the inauguration of these persons. Exactly. He inaugurated them in line with the law. In the Senate, the same thing was done to the members of the Labour Party. But at the state level, you are not seeing the Labour Party because the governor is a Labour Party, right? Exactly. In connivance with the speaker are not trying to play their political grievance and bitterness against a constituency, and we say we are angels. And we not see the problem that we need to change our attitude. So I think what that man is doing right now, he need to be called to order. The state should make him to understand that it's not above the laws of the state. Okay. If Governor Oti have a hands in this, because he can't be doing it alone. Exactly. I know the speaker can't be doing this alone. Okay. This is political disagreement. Some persons may have a preferred candidate or they wanted a member of their party to be there just because the member of the party didn't win. It's the PDP guy that won. So therefore, let's see how you are going to represent your people. Okay. This is what they are doing. So it must be called to order. That is illegality and impunity in the highest order. You can't do that in the state where people have voluntarily, elected somebody from among them to go and represent them just because of your party grievances, your partisanship. And you therefore say, no, these people will not have a representation in the state house. I think, unfortunately, as I conclude, many people from the Abia state will not see this as a problem because it is not happening at the federal level. Because people here will become so big and their eyes so open. When you mention federal government, the media will be agog. Every station, social media, everybody will be discussing it because it is federal government. Oh, federal government, anti-democracy, federal government, APC has failed. APC does not mean well. But now that is happening, and it's being done by a Labour Party, and in Abia State, it's not a case to them. But for us, it's a case that needs to be tackled.
All right, Mr. Fiaga says that there's a double standard being played there. The saints, the said saints, are also having their finger in the pot of soup. We don't know which is the monkeys or which is the human's hand. But all the same, let's still throw this to Mr. Ogochukwu, Ifeanyi Chukwusa. Since December the 13th, this is making it more than 6 months, and the inauguration of this particular member of the House of Assembly in Abia State has not been inaugurated. Are there any political undertones that we are not aware of? Could you expatiate? Could you dissect?
No, MFA has done a big blow to it. I will just add to what he said. You see, Nigeria is a democracy, but I don't know whether we are an operational democratic state where the rule of law should be the norm. or even the grand norm. Because you cannot tell me that Nigeria is a state where rules and regulation and order is the order of the day, that somebody whom the court, the final court, according to their own level of their elections, which is appeal court, has affirmed to have duly won the election, and an individual, through the instrumentality of the office he's occupying, that is Emmanuel Emero, who is the state House Speaker, refusing to inaugurate his fellow member of equal rights. Remember, he is a speaker because he is, according to the Constitution, he is being chosen among his equals to, to lead the way. He's not above anybody in that house can be a speaker tomorrow. So for him to arrogate that kind of power onto himself, he should have come under the hammer of the state. If we were a state where things are done properly.
And what could you
think? The Nigerian state.
What do you think is the reasons why he has not been called to order?
This will now bring about the rejigging of the Electoral Act and the Constitution. Because you remember when, during what happened in Kogi State some years ago, when a governor was elected, was still under candidacy, and the election has not concluded before he passed on. And everybody thought that his running mate would have naturally been positioned to carry on because they rode on the same ticket. But they said, no, it's the party, the APC, that has the ticket and gave it to whomever that it is still within the confines of APC to choose the person that will go and represent them. That's to go and become the governor, thereby denying Smart Adeyemi becoming the flag bearer of that state. That was how Yahya Bello emerged, and we are faced with the same constitutional or electoral lacuna again. So those are making the laws. We look at it now and see that if there are laws that will be made to override or going through INEC or even the same court that has declared this young man elected, duly elected, and INEC has given him the certificate of return, so that they will not take an appropriate measure to ensure that in the unforeseen future, that if such a thing occurs, that the courts or INEC will have the right to sue for his inauguration in the house. I'm saying in futuristic. But as it is now, this is not the type of story we want to hear from Abia State, especially being a state that is being governed by the party Nigerians tag the third force. Remember, Oti has vied for election in Abga. He didn't win. And, fortune smiled on him that he joined the Labour Party, and today he's the governor. The speaker cannot be doing this without the knowledge of the governor. And this is where the governor, who was the person who also proclaimed for the lifetime of this House of Assembly to begin, because through the proclamation of the governor, the assembly will be constituted. So the governor, that is what I'm saying. Yeah, why is the governor not leveraged on his no, it is
no matter how partisan it might be, that he is representing, just as Emi Fiaga said, he's representing a constituency.
In Nigeria, Nigeria is practicing a multi-party system. But if you look at it, we are practicing one-party system. Because in each state, once they conduct local government election, the state that the party is in power wins. And now, the Nigerian politicians don't want to play the more the merrier. Because once you have a viable opposition, it keeps you in check. It's not an enemy. Okay. So if the governor of Abia State should understand that once there are multidimensional political parties in the House of Assembly, it gives coloration. There is a sense of democracy in it.
All right.
But now we have had it on allegations that this young man has been, Uzodike has been tried in so many ways to be wooed into Labour Party before he will. This case did not start today. we have been hearing that a lot of moves have been made for him to join Labour Party. And that is, if you look at why they are delaying his inauguration now, you will not take it out that such a thing is happening behind the scene. Okay. So the Nigerian politician and the Nigerian state should understand that multi-dimensional party system is the key in Nigeria. Okay. But if you have not seen it that way, we'll continue to see this kind of aberration in every life cycle of our democratic life.
All right. So that is to say that even for a state governed by the Labour Party, there seems that Uhuru is not yet.
No, we've not gotten there. All Nigerian politicians, they are selfish and self-centered.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Ekiti State, where the chapter of the All Progressive Congress in Ekiti State passed a vote of confidence on the state governor, Biodun Oyebanji. And this came with a resolution that he will be supported for a second term in office. This was just as the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party, the opposition there, asked the governor to shun trivialities such as endorsements and unnecessary visitations and focus on governance. The resolution for him to run for a second term was unanimously taken during a meeting with the governor at the party's secretariat at Ajilosun, Ado-Ekiti, where the extended executive council comprising this state working committee and the leaders of the party across the 16 local government areas reviewed the governor's performance and endorsed him for a second term. On to you, sir, Mr. Ferrier, sir. Governor Oyebanji is not yet through with his first tenure. He has not gotten to the mid-term of his first tenure. Is this a right call by the APC at this time to endorse him for a second term, sir?
APC is a political party.
Yes, sir.
And one of the primary agenda is for them to continue to form government in Ondo State, as the case may be.
In Ekiti State.
In Ekiti State. Ekiti Ondo, in Ekiti State. So you see, there are many experiences. You see, the ousting of Obaseki the other time cost APC the seat. In Ondo State, we also saw a situation like that until Akeredolu came, was supported and all that for APC to continue to reign in Ondo State. So I believe Ekiti State have actually learned from the lessons of Edo and the one that almost happened in Ondo State. So I think being a political party, him that pays the piper will always dictate the tune. As APC is today in Ekiti State, how many people are actually paying their party due at the end of the month as a member of the political party? None. The thing is funded by the governor. And if the governor is funding you as one of the leaders of the party in the state, definitely you will sing the governor's song. We say that he is the best, he has ever done this, in fact, he's angel, living on earth with us, just because, water is passing under the bridge. But immediately that is stopped coming, you will hear that Oyebanji is one of the worst governors that have ever ruled Ekiti State. These are the things you will see. So as a political party, they will always support one of their own. It's part of politics, nothing is bad, and I think that is what they are doing currently. So the vote of confidence for me, it doesn't really make any difference. It
doesn't impact on governance in any way.
It's one of the political gimmicks that we're always saying. Let the people, speak louder through their vote. And let the governor who is ruling or leading, prove his word through performance. Once the people see that you have done well, I tell you, Nigeria is a very easy place to rule, to govern. I'm not talking about the attitude aspect of it. Nigeria, I don't think we are the worst people, because we hate law, we hate anything that is honest, we hate anything that is we talk about constitutionalism, we hate it. We just want to be left alone to do our thing the way we want it, not caring about the rights of the next person. But in this case now, we are talking about in terms of governance. If you give Nigerians good road, like the usual campaign, every year in, year out, I will give you road, I will give you road. You are able to do few kilometers of roads. Then you are able to build small pipe of water. You are able to build small school. Then you amplify it on media. Yeah, oh, Nigerians will sing your praises. Maybe you put small thing in the pocket. Hey, they will take the best. The best upon best. At the end, the people continue wallowing in their poverty while we suffer and smile. And at the end of the day, we elect you, you continue, you know, and that trajectory again. The next time you come, you put small thing in our hands, in our pocket, we smile, we praise you to high heaven, you are the best, while we continue to suffer. So it's part of the politics.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ugochukwu, sir, concerning the fact that Governor Oyebanji has been trying to crisscross between both parties. I mean, in fact, when he visited Ayo Fayose, the former governor of Ekiti State too, even the PDP, which is Ayo Fayose's party, raised motions against that. Like
Fayose has no party now because he worked for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be installed, so he doesn't have a party now.
You know that he's a card carrying member. He still has a card that he has not turned his card like
he's a traditional Nigerian politician.
So, but where I was going towards this is that Governor Oyebanji has been trying to crisscross between both parties and to still get the support of stakeholders within Ekiti State. But is it not too early to seek for endorsement for a second term for Ekiti State, sir?
That is what I just said in the second leg of our discussion, that Nigeria as a state, multidimensional political parties is not what we see. It's not what is happening, because any governor or any president that enters will want to bring all the parties loyal, and what causes that? No ideology. There's no manifesto. No Nigerian traditional politician believes in the ideology. If you say that, let's take, for instance, for now, I could only see the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the only Nigerian politician. Not because he's a president. I don't have any sympathy for him or any affinity with him whatsoever. But if you go by the politicians that we have now, those who are within the corridors of power, who has played these politics, it is only him. Maybe the other persons who are his followers are not known. I mean, the people who are known to the Nigerian populace, the voters, because I've not seen him, cross carpet to any of the ruling parties until he was able to capture power through APC. If you followed through 1999, where he has been, and you find out his ideologies and what he believes, is still standing tall. But if you look at all the Nigeria, wherever the stomach faces is the front. Like our friend you mentioned, former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, the stomach infrastructure governor. So he is the person that painted what politics is all about in Nigeria. It's about the stomach infrastructure for the pecuniary gains.
As Governor Oyebanji,
of course, this Oyebanji that you're talking about.
What's his scorecard?
I'm coming. Ekiti State is made up of 3.5 million citizens. Okay. Ekiti State is known for the production of cocoyam, because I went deep. Cocoyam, yam, cassava and all that. What is their IGR is what? Their 2024 budget is 159.5 billion, thereabout. You see, it's a very small state. So a governor comes, you cannot affect the lives of the citizenry. You are barely 2 years into your first tenure, and what gladdens you and what will, announce you as a performing governor is for you to seek endorsement for second tenure, where you are in the middle of your first tenure. This is what we see as politics in Nigeria. Politicians in Nigeria start preparing for the next election. Immediately they win the election the seat they are currently occupying. And that is what we see. So you find out that they have no ideologies, They have no manifesto. What is reigning now is once they ride onto the maybe APC or PDP and they come in, they jettison whatever manifesto, if there is any, and they begin to do agenda. But there is one thing I will commend the Ekiti State for. The Assembly passed a law that any project that is being left by the predecessor of a governor will be continued. That continuity is there. And we have not heard that the governor has sent any bill for that law to be amended. So some of the projects that he's doing is a project he inherited. It is ongoing in Ekiti State. You can take it to the bank. Okay. But for how the people of Ekiti State are feeling the dividends of democracy is what we don't know. Okay. But what the governor should have done is to quietly, the way he came, and his nature as a politician, to go about, affecting the lives of the people. So at the end of the day, it is the people that will vote you. It's the project you put on ground, how you affect the people's life, how you have changed the trajectory and the developmental states of Ekiti State is what the people will look at, and they score you. And that gives you the needed vote. You don't need to struggle much. But when you begin to align with politicians, that is where you want to get your vote of confidence. That is the people you want to listen to. At the end of the day, this is what brings election rigging and the election manipulation in Nigeria, because you have not reached out to the people who should be those who have the power, according to the division of democracy, to vote you back or say, no, you didn't do well. Okay. But because elections in Nigeria has been always manipulated, that is why the politicians play it into the hands of their fellow politicians who will help them when another election comes. Okay. So what is the economic benefit of APC endorsing the governor for a second term when he has not even, in more than half of the year, he should spend in his first term? This is an aberration, if you ask me.
There is something we just need to chip in.
Okay.
You see, when a man wins an election, if he begins preparation for the next election, that same day is not a bad thing. In fact, I want politicians to be doing that. But the manner in which they go about seeking the re-election,
that is what is bad.
Okay. It is expected that you, immediately you are declared the winner, start preparation for the next election.
But the preparation should be hitting the ground running in development.
Your output.
That is
those things you are doing. Reaching out to other people is also necessary, because you need a vote of all to be re-elected. It is not left for the opposition party to kind of re-strategize and see how they can also stop you while you are reaching to their own people to seek re-election. So politicians will prepare for a very long time. We give them the idea into understanding what they ought to do when they are given the opportunity. Not the fire brigade where a year, electionary year, you jump up, hey, I want to be president, I want to be assembly member, I want to be this. No, that is not a preparation. That is not a
reaching out. If I may add, reaching out to oppositions is not necessarily means when you want to woo people into your own political party. That is when you can be in your party and support the good works or the good agendas or the manifesto that anybody in power has. That is not wrong. So, but this mentality of the Nigerian politician, unless you cross carpet to my party, I will know that you belong to me, is wrong. Even with the opinion mothers here and those who come and say, this is how we want the Nigerian state to be, we are not carrying members of any political party. But whatever that is happening that gladdens us, we sing your praises to the high heavens. But if you're not doing well, it is also our duties to point it out. We are not pointing out that we are criticizing you, but we are critiquing you to look into where you're not doing well and affect the people's lives. So that is also the work of the journalist. Exactly. Journalism is not there to castigate you or to pull you down. No. But is there anybody that is singing your praises and not, telling you the way you should go in order to have a smooth selling? It's not helping you. So what we are saying is, when you become a governor or when you become a local government chairman or any position of authority at that which you ought to do, you do it, and seamlessly you will be endearing the people unto yourself. You don't need to buy them over. But the problem is that politicians in Nigeria are buying over the people and not the people aligning with them naturally. That is where the problem is. Because if you hit the ground running by your developmental strides and what you're doing, the people will naturally fall in love with you and vote you in. Yeah. You don't even, people will come and say that this seat is not vacant. You've had it during the elections, that this seat is not vacant. It's because of what you do, not because of how many people you were able to buy over or how many watts of naira you're throwing around for the elections.
Thank you, sir. Well, being with Emi Fiaga and Ifeanyi Chukwu Ugochukwu, both political analysts of no mean repute. Still up next, we have Kano State Governor saying that the Emir, Bayero was never the Emir, and also in Katsina State, the PDP Caretaker Committee refutes misleading information. National Assembly Rivers Reps Caucus calls for discipline on Ugo Chinre. These are many more coming up even after we go for this short commercial break. Please stay tuned and don't touch your screen.
She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human
on the point of order.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
From the line across the ocean to to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one.
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. There are POS operators.
Glad to have you back on Open Air, right here in the studios of Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt. And we have to move on to the stories trending for today, mainly concerning that of Kano State. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Abba Yusuf of Kano State, Sanusi Bature, has declared that Aminu Ado Bayero was never an emir of Kano. Bature said that former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje appointed Bayero as emir of the 8 metropolitan local governments of Kano City. Bature said Ganduje made Bayero emir of the metropolitan Kano City due to the bastardization of the emirate. Said Ganduje introduced politics into Kano Emirate that predates Nigeria. That's the emirate predates Nigeria. Meanwhile, the governor has warned security agencies in the state against meddling or involvement in matters outside their primary assignment or designated responsibilities. The governor, who gave the warning at the commencement of the 15th weekly meeting of Kano State Executive Council held at the Government House, instructed security agencies to strictly adhere to mandated duties of only safeguarding lives and properties of the citizens they serve. Sanusi Bature decried the recent upsurge of thuggery in Kano metropolis and beseeched the security agencies to promptly bring an end to the menace. With the logic that the governor is bringing forth here concerning Kano State, to you, Mr. Fiagasa, he is alluding to the fact that the former emir was just an emir of 8 local governments of Kano State and not the whole 44. And that he can never be described, or he should not be seen to be an emir of the whole Kano State, being that that has been repunged and that the present institution being headed by Sanusi Lamido II seems to be that which represents the whole 44 local government areas. What is your stance on that statement, sir?
Yes, like Aristotle said that we are all political animals. You know, that element of politics, you know, lives in us. For that reason, we are either political watchers or political players or political supporters. In whatever capacity or career you find yourself, you are a politician to an extent. So politics, you know, is ubiquitous, you know, it's ambiguous. It's also, you know, aspersia. When we play politics, sometimes the way we see politics, we only see politics from the contents on how we see it in our own sentiment, in our own beliefs, forgetting that the politics we are talking about is going to affect the lives of many and the nation. So for me, there is something I say to myself that as one of the political watcher, political analyst, and political observer in Nigeria, despite that there is a kind of a bandwagon, I said I will stand out in the form that whatever that is truth, I will spill it. Whatever that stands right is what I will stand with. I don't care whose interest I might be, you know, stepping upon as far as the truth is concerned, because my religious background says you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. And it is in the truth that we will have peace. I will live a better life and developed. Bature point of view, I think, is correct. I remember when this man Bayero was elevated, you know, as the emir. Then there was a kind of bastardization of the Kano Emirates. We now have 6 other emirs that emerge. If I remember, 4, right?
4, yes.
My memory serves me right. And that means the jurisdiction of Bayero
was limited,
restricted to certain areas.
Yes.
So that large jurisdiction that the Kano Emirate usually enjoy with your emir of Kano State was kind of, distorted. So for that reason, I think Bature is correct that Bayero cannot be seen as emir of Kano, but rather as emir of the Kano metropole, city where he controls and all that. That is fact that we can't dispute.
Okay.
However, there is one other thing that I think that cause for concern, and this is the mentality of many public office holders that has plunged the Nigeria state into this political quagmire and economic woes. A situation where we see that our ethnic affiliation or things that has to do with our ethnic affiliation, religious affiliation, predate the Nigeria state. So therefore, we want to hold on to that one, forgetting that Nigeria is an establishment of law. And the law says in section 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it described the law as supreme. Supreme in the sense that it had binding force on all authorities, whether in government cycle, in religious cycle, in emirate cycle, in other traditional cycle, in religion, whatever cycle you found yourself. The law says the Nigeria Constitution is supreme, irrespective of whatever law, whatever sentiment that you have. Every other thing is subject to the Nigeria Constitution. And that law has binding effect on all persons, whether you are emir, you are Oba, you are a chief, you are a bishop, you are whatever, you're a politician, whatever position you find yourself, you are subject to the Nigeria Constitution. And section 1, subsection 3 then say, every other law that contravenes this Constitution by the reason of the inconsistencies, that law shall be null and void. So whether the Kano Emirate predate the Nigeria state, as long as that emirate is now under the jurisdiction of the Nigeria state,
of course,
it becomes a subject to the Nigeria Constitution.
Yes.
So whatever practice that you be practicing, whatever beliefs that you holding in the Kano Emirate is subject to the Nigeria Constitution.
Okay.
And this is why we're having some people seeing themselves as Lord. People who are superhuman, people who cannot respect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Even in Rivers State currently, it's the same mentality. They believe that, how will you do this? Oh, I have my feelings, I have my affiliations. This is how I think.
And the
this
law
is how
should
I feel
be shifted to
this is my belief. This is my religious belief. This is my ethnic belief. This is my tradition. Oh, you can't tell us what to do. We will tell you what to do because the law supersedes your beliefs. The law supersedes your whatever thing you find yourself. So I think Bature should be made to understand this so that people will not go into public office and begin to misbehave, undermine our constitution, thereby causing political confusion here and there. So Kano Emirate is subject to the Nigerian Constitution, and every practice that contravenes the provision of the Nigerian Constitution must be stopped and be dealt with. Because we can't continue to have a recalcitrant behavior, undermining the sovereignty of our state, all in the name of ethnic or religious affiliation. This is abhorrent for me. I'm really not pleased with that statement. And politicians should know this. Whatever political party you find yourself, whatever this, you are subject to the Nigeria Constitution. Your emotions, your feelings, when you are subject to the Nigeria Constitution, anything outside this is unconstitutional. It's unacceptable. So Bature must understand that whether a Kano Emirate predate Nigeria, as long as Nigeria is concerned, Nigeria is number one and Nigeria reigns supreme.
Okay, sir. Nice submission, sir. And Mr. Gochukwu, sir, concerning the governor calling on the security agencies to remain on their mandate of securing lives and properties, are there any insinuations that they might be dragged into the debacle happening in the Emirates concerning the choice of who becomes emir in the Kano Emirates, sir?
I think before I go into that, let me also add to what my colleague have said. I think you remember some people took Atiku Abubakar to court about his birth, because by the time they were in southern Cameroon or whatever from Adamawa State, and when the Nigerian state was contracted, they were now part of that Cameroon was, however, found themselves in Nigeria. So some of his political enemies or opponents were using it against him that, after all, Atiku Abubakar is not a Nigerian. But when they went to court, and those explanations, that by the time the Nigerian state was about to be created, people of our sister nations that had affinity with Nigeria were asked on their own evolution to choose if they want to become part of Nigeria. And when you have accepted, during the creation of Nigeria, no matter where you have been, you are now part of the Nigerian state, having naturally accepted to become part of that territory or environment. So when you talk about when Kanu has existed, after all, there are other places, the Benin Emirate or the Oba Emirate and the Umri in Anambra State. Most of these are ancient cities, Ibadan. That's why they call them ancient cities. These people also predate Nigeria.
Okay,
as a state, you understand? So by the time we continue to use these things to arrogate more regional or sectional power to ourselves, to tell us that you have been in leadership before the Nigerian state, I think it is misleading, and we must put a stop to it.
Okay, sir.
Then,
let's move on.
If you're talking about the security agencies, yes, we have said it time without number on this fora, on different media stations, that the political the emirate torso that is going on in Kanu has become political, because the politics of the place is this: the kingmakers are the people that make the king. They choose the king, and it is only a recognition by the state. Remember that traditional rulers are not given any constitutional mandate. It is at the whims and caprices of the governors to give them soft landing, or even the payment that they give them is not captured.
Do you think that the governor is being wary about federal participation?
I'm coming there. Yes, that is exactly where I'm going. So now you find out that once the governor now gives the staff of office, he now assumes that the government has made the king. We're not talking about the emir now. So that is where the problem is. And during their election or whatever, they want them to assuage and give them sympathy votes through their subjects. That is where the politics is coming in. And that's where the problem of this Kanu Emirate stool is coming from. Then you will remember that it is only in the states that you have ministry or commission for local government and chieftaincy affairs. It's not domiciled in the federal level. So everything about that stops within the state. The federal government should understand this. But this problem, the question you're asking me about the involvement of the security agencies now is because the former governor of Kanu, who is Alhaji Ganduje, is now in the federal as the APC chairman. He will want to use his position as in the nature of Nigerian bourgeois to now attract sympathy unto himself, because he is the person that repealed the Kanu Emirate law that existed even before his birth. This particular Kanu you're talking about, remember, there is something you said that I want to correct, is this: Kanu is a state, and the Kanu also is the capital. So where the emir of Kanu you hear about is the Kanu town, the Kanu metropolis. It's not the whole of Kanu state. It's not the 44 local governments. So we are talking about the emir of Kanu, governs or rules the Kanu metropolis, which is all the local governments under the Kanu metropolis or whatever. I don't know whether I'm correct. You've now found out that the Kanu, this covers about 8 local governments I think so.
The Emir of Kano usually covers the entire Kano state.
Okay, the entire Kano state. Okay, now that was repealed. Now you find out that the Kano, the Emir of Kano was now covering about 8 local governments alone. Now, if you go by that, trajectory, you now find out that the Emir Ado Bayero has never been the Emir of Kano. They should have coined out another name to be called that emirate. But our politicians, in their own wisdom, the Ganduje-led administration tried to maintain that Emir of Kano in only 8 local governments, which should have not been the same, because he now, carved out another 4 emirates and added it to this one, which is 5. So Bature's logic is apt. Then the security agencies, the federal government should not go into allowing themselves to be drawn into this battle, because it ends and starts with the governor and the state of assemblies, who has jurisdiction to adjudicate how their traditional stool and their traditional system should favor the state.
Okay, sir. See, there is something, please, I will be very brief. Okay. When we talk about issue of insecurity, and somebody is urging the security personnel never to involve in the politics in Kano State, that Ganduje introduced politics into the emirate, I don't think it's correct. We have politics at the micro level, we call it micro politics. We have politics at the high, we call it macro politics. So politics is fun in everything. The selection of the Emir of Kano is always, it revolves around politics. And the issue of security, I think the problem lies more with the political class. It's not even the security agents. Some of them, they are humans. They might have that political learnings. But the thing is, some people are manipulating the security agencies to partake in the political partisanship and destructive attitude of their beliefs. This is the issue. If you have come as a governor and you don't see the reason, to be a political predator, you will not see the reason you want to oust another person and install your own just because we are political, rapacious to an extent. This is the issue that is creating insecurity. And the security agents who are empowered to protect life and property will not sit back and watch you destroy the state just because you want to, implant your political interests at the expense of the state. This is the issue. Politicians should learn to control themselves. Stop dragging the security agencies into your political selfish fight, as we are seeing in Kano State and in Rivers State and in other parts of the country. You, governor, you are complaining now. Why will you be political rapacious? Why will you become a political predator? Just like your colleagues, you are always doing. Some people will come. That is a traditional stool that all of you, always rally around as a means, to safeguard your culture, your tradition, and all that.
And
some
people
vote. Suddenly come and so dissatisfied and wanted to implant their own, destroy and everything, and now when Bizra and you've come, you say that you want to revenge. To an extent, you also try to destroy this one and implant your own. And now you are coming with this. So with the security personnel, sit back and watch the state of Kano.
No, I don't think that is where the governor is coming from.
The governor is telling you that some people are going to be manipulating some persons, isn't it? Some people using federal might. What will incur the presence of the federal might, if not for political predatorship?
Okay, yes.
So these are the issues that we are. Politicians should need to restrain themselves from this destructive politics.
Just a moment. Okay. We have limited time. I know we have so much to discuss about. We have a lot of points to bring out, but we are still limited by time. And I want us, as much as possible, to gain as much. I want us to gain as much we can from today's discussions.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to make a 30 seconds clarification, is when you talk about the security agencies in meddling or being somebody insinuating that security agencies might be doing the bidding of someone, is because, like I have said, anything about the emirship, it revolves around the state. And the state House of Assembly has made a law which should be respected and binding. We should be respected and binding, is it not? Then somebody in Abuja want to use federal might because the security agencies are other than wins and caprices of the federal government. That is why the governor is raising the alarm. Because if the government, if the politicians themselves, maybe Ganduje and his camp, know that this emirship stool, whatever decision that comes by it, like when Emir Sanusi was dethroned, Emir Sanusi left. He left without challenging it. But now, you want to use your affinity with the federal government.
It is not always federal government.
No,
let us
he will now want to decide, because who controls the security agencies? Is the federal, gentlemen, and who is using it against the government?
The state controls as well.
It's okay. Let's go ahead. The Rivers Reps caucus calls for discipline on Ugo Chinre. That's the caption we have here. The Rivers State Caucus in the House of Representatives has asked the leadership of the House to call the member representing Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, Honorable Ikenga Ugo Chinre, to order and discipline him for interfering in the affairs of Rivers State. The caucus, in a statement by its chairman, Honorable Dumnamene Deko, faulted what it called another unfortunate and misleading press briefing by Ugo Chinre on Tuesday on the ongoing disagreement between the governor of Rivers State, Sim Fuara, and the House of Assembly and lately local government chairman. Deko said that since the disagreement, the Imo lawmaker has thrown caution, decorum and responsible conduct expected of the high office he now occupies to the wind, and puts himself forward as a veritable tool as well as an agent provocateur for a cause he knows nothing about and for no other reason except to feather his nest. Up to you, Mr. Ferreira, sir. Do you think it's morally, politically right for the Honorable Reps member Ugo Chinre to be interfering in Rivers politics, just as Dumnamene Deko in the House of Reps has alleged, sir?
Once again, we operate a constitutional democracy. The law, stipulates and defines our rights and what is unlawful and what is lawful. The Constitution permits of what they call freedom of expression, right, as enshrined in our law. So, and the Constitution didn't limit our freedom of expression to our local government, to our community, or to our states. As long as you are a native of the Nigeria state, you have that liberty to so discuss issues of importance, and political matters, whether economic or whatever form. You have that right to discuss it if you feel interested and you want to partake in it. So it's our right to so do. So anybody saying because you are not from here, therefore you must not, discuss the issue because you are not from that state, I don't think is constitutionally wise. Morality will always take the back seat where law speaks. We are not talking about morality. We are talking about what the law says. That is how constitutional states are governed. It's not about how I feel or my emotions. No, it's about the law. Except somebody is even asking me now, Firaga, not to be talking about matters that have to do with Rivers State. Because I'm not from Rivers State, but I reside in Rivers State. So therefore, Rivers State is part of Nigeria. So I have the liberty, I have the right to discuss issue in Rivers State. So it is not about how you feel it. It is about what the law says. If the law says I have the right, then I have the right.
Okay, sir.
So my concern about Ugo Chinre is law for illegality. He's elected as a lawmaker. You are there to make law. And the constitution we operate today is a legislation from the parliament. So it's act of parliament. Right? So as a lawmaker, you ought to stand by what the law says and not going on the contrary as a lawmaker. What are you trying to paint? What are you telling Nigerians? That you don't even believe in the law you partake in making? That you don't even believe in the institution of government that you belong to? You saw illegality and you derive joy in supporting and you try to promote such illegality. Even when this thing is against the constitution that elects you into the house. We had a situation under the Buhari administration where the Bukola Saraki Senate leadership and the leadership of the House of Reps were against the executive. They were, like a parallel line. They don't meet. The fight was so strong that anything that Buhari will send to the National Assembly will be turned down. Sometimes they even make jest of it. And at the end of the day, the government of Buhari was kind of limited by the decisions and actions of the National Assembly. But we never saw the Buhari as a president, saying because I'm the president, I'm the chief commander of the armed forces, I have the liberty to deploy the police, I have the liberty to do and undo, and therefore move it to the National Assembly and bring down the structure of the National Assembly and try to limit the National Assembly from sitting. Buhari never did that. Despite that, he was the president of the Federal Republic. He never denied their lawmakers their due resources. He never interfered in their activities. He never restricted their legislative businesses. He never did anything.
Okay,
but rather,
where do you fault Ogochiri?
He was trying to do this. But right now in Rivers State, we are now having a situation where one of the arm of government is trying, to deny the other arm of government from functioning and even existing in the state. You, Ogochiri, who belongs to the parliament, you are now supporting the executive against the legislative chamber.
Against the
in the state.
chamber.
So you are supporting the executive against the legislation that you belong to. So what kind of, a man is really is that at the point you are even saying and supporting an illegality that is alien to our constitution called caretaker. Caretaking what? Taking our resources to private pockets, taking our resources into some foreign accounts, taking our resources and making the people live in poverty and in non-performance situation, and you are supporting a caretaker even when the grown-up Section 7 forbids everything that has to do with ad hoc government. The law says democratically elected. So anything ad hoc, whether head of service, whether some people are appointed, governor does not have such a right. But in whatever manner, whatever situation, the law prohibits and forbids it. And somebody is trying to do it. Are you Ogochiri, who belongs to the group that made this law, is now supporting the person against the law that you are so a member or a participant in making, in enacting? So I wonder what's run through his mind. Is this guy really qualified to be in the National Assembly making law for us, or is it that he is an anti-democratic force that is there to destroy our democracy? Is that his interest? I don't really understand Ogochiri sometimes. So I wonder why his constituency are not even asking him, bro, that place we sent you to make law. Why are you against the law that govern the Federal Republic of Nigeria? He should give reasons why he's still so in love with illegality, unconstitutionalism, and things that can precipitate crisis in a part of Nigeria. And he's celebrating. People are clapping for him. If everybody should continue or live in such a manner, do you think he will have a state? We will not even have a governor in the first place. Because people will want to do what they feel like, express their emotion. Do you think it's everybody that like Governor Sifubara? Do they know? Do you think it's everybody that wants Governor Sifubara to be a governor? No. Is Governor Sifubara the most qualified person to govern the state? No. Is Governor Sifubara the most educated person? No. Is Governor Sifubara is the person that have the most economic prowess? No. But he's there. He's privileged to be there because the law says so, and every other person submits to the rule of the law. And the same governor is trying to undermine the constitution that made the governor disdainfully disrespecting and insulting the institutions of state. And you, Ogochiri, who legislates for the good government, orderliness and peace of the Nigeria state, you are supporting such action against what the law recommends. I wonder. I think Ogochiri is really, is disappointing.
Okay, sir. So, Mr. Ogochukwu, sir, in a few words, sir, because we still have more to dissect here concerning this same sphere of influence, sir. But what would you ascribe to the, should I call it a diverted patriotism for Ogochiri to concentrate more on Rivers State than on his native Imo State, sir? Is he in order? I know he has the right to comment on any issue concerning the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but in this case, where the caucus of the reps members from Rivers State are raising an issue that you cannot be the chief prosecutor of our cases when we are still in the same house with you here. What is his stand? Does his stand resonate with you?
I think I want to just make 3 points out of what the Dabo have said, the caucus chairman of the House of Reps from South-South. This call has been overdue the call that he made now has been overdue. We have expected them to have called Ugo Chinyere to order before now, because Ugo Chinyere's antics and rhetorics is becoming unbecoming and embarrassing of a person of his office. I wouldn't say his person now. I mean the office he occupies as an elected member. If he knows what that particular office is, that is one. So it is a call that we have expected, but is belated. But according to the Englishman, he said it's better now than never. Is it not? Then another thing is this. Ugo Chinyere is an opportunist. He's a political jobber, and he doesn't have anything to offer in terms of bettering the life of his constituents. He has failed them because you will recall that in Imo State, where he represents the people of Ida North, it has not been Uhuru. He himself cannot tell us that he goes home and sleeps with his two eyes open, with his two eyes closed, because of the insecurity and all the things that happened before he got elected, and even when he was litigating up to the appeal court. So I don't want to say much about Ugo Chinyere, because it's an unbecoming as an honorable to take sides in matters like this. Because what is happening in Riga State is a matter of constitutionality, and they will allow the courts to take their course. So for now, I will reserve my comment again about Ugo Chinyere. But all I know is that he has already projected himself for what he is, that he is only self-seeking politician. He only wants where he will get his daily pay. And that makes him an opportunist and a political jobber.
Okay, sir. On to this same story concerning Rivers State. Also, the chances are rife that the ongoing political crisis in Rivers may fester a little longer, as organized labor has asked for the police to vacate the local government offices they are occupying, or risk the mobilization of labor unions to reclaim them from their grip. Press gathered that they made the demand following an emergency state administrative council meeting at the NLC Secretariat in Port Harcourt on Friday. The meeting addressed 3 key issues: the constitution and inauguration of the caretaker committees in the 23 local government areas, the call by the All Progressive Congress for a state of emergency in the state, as well as the police takeover of council secretariats. NLC chairman in Rivers State, Alex Agwanwo, at the session acknowledged the police's efforts to maintain peace, but stated that denying workers access to their offices is a breach of their rights. Saferaga, sir, well, we saw a situation with the occupation of the local government offices at the expiration of the tenure of the local government chairman, despite pending court case are waiting to address that issue. And the aftermath of it was a breakdown of security and reported deaths of a few security agencies as well. And with that, the police was asked to take control of the 23 local government area secretariats, sir. And now the NLC is asking for a vacation of the premises so they can resume administrative duties. Are they in order, sir?
People say he who goes to the bush to fetch ant-infected firewoods should not be worried or be offended when the lizard comes dancing in his environment or his house. You went to the bush, you fetched ant-infected firewood, and now you are complaining. What were the agenda for the meeting that you just mentioned? 3 key areas were touched, right?
Exactly, yes, sir.
So, caretakership in River State.
Yes.
The other one called for state of emergency.
Yes.
And the last one, I can't remember.
Yeah, the last one was concerning the police
taking over of the secretariat.
Yes, sir.
These were the issues.
Yes, sir.
Right? And
exactly.
Labour came out with a communique issuing warning to the security which is the police, to vacate all the secretariats of the local government
in Rivers State.
In Rivers State, that workers should come. There is a saying in local parlance that Konima die, Konima bury am, right? You saw a situation where the law that governs the state is being undermined, is being disrespected. You are not bothered about it. You don't bother if it is caretaker as against the grown-up. Your concern is you want to hide, play that pretentious politics. Let it be as if you are speaking, because the occupation of those secretariat by the police shows that there is political crisis in Rivers State, which calls for great concern. So you want to hide under the umbrella of speaking for workers to vacate so that you will fall in line with the governor, that Rivers State is at peace, there's no crisis, nothing is happening. Is that what you are talking? You are talking to Nigeria who reason the way you reason. In fact, even reason more better than you in some ways. I think Labour should be ashamed. All of them put together should be ashamed. A state, a man who assumed office through election, through a constitution, had decided to jettison the constitution, disobeying the constitution, doing another thing. You Labour, you don't see reason. You don't see any bad thing with that behavior. All you do, you want to show that you are in line with some persons playing the political servitude of the governor. I don't think it really makes sense. You should speak against unconstitutionality. You should speak against unlawfulness. You should speak against things that contravenes the ground norm that is making every one of us to live in peace as we are experiencing today. Because if everybody is allowed to do the way they want to behave, I don't think Labour would have sat the way they sat to make all this resolution. They will have the opportunity to say, because there are people who even want to take over that leadership of the Labour Party from among the workers. But because their law says this, and there are security agencies in Nigeria that if you try to break down our law, create social disorder, the people will come and cramp on you. You won't have social. So they comport themselves, allowing the leadership of the Labour Union in Rivers State to have their way. But right now, you are saying that the police should vacate the secretariat. You are speaking for the, assuming there is more bloodshed in those areas, you will be the first set of people to call the police has failed. Exactly. They are not doing their work. Are they supposed to be on ground? Are they supposed to protect life and property? Now the people are there to defend what the law says. They stand with the law. I made a post. Immediately, this issue of caretaker was announced by the governor. When he says some people should hand over to this, I made a post. I say, this is the interest of both parties. The pro-Wike group, their interest is this. Come, though we have been practicing this caretakership, the law says it is illegal because you now see defection as a sin. You say people who are defected in other places, but in Rivers State, defection is a sin. Therefore, anybody who defected must lose his seat. Since you are holding to that, right, as a kind of a cry that you want to fight, then the other group are now saying caretakership is also alien to our constitution. It must not be allowed to reign in our state anymore, in line with the provision of the constitution. So these are the two interests. And I say, if we have this, it's an opportunity to liberate Rivers State from political rascality, political impunity that we have been experiencing, and allow the people of Rivers State to choose who will head the third tier of government in the state. And therefore, every reasonable and well-meaning Nigerian should stand with the law. I call on the police to stand with the law. I call on the judiciary to stand with the law. What the law says is this situation that some people who made themselves to become emperor and now undermine the third tier of government, and this opportunity for us to end that reign of impunity and ensure that the law take preeminence. And thank God the police is like they saw and they heed to that, and they're not doing it. Safeguard the law, except the court now say otherwise. This should be done, this should not be done. Then that is when the police should be there to protect life and property. If the workers will condone themselves well and not coming to take part in this political partisanship, they can be allowed to come and do their work. But we see some people who have fetched undefended firewood, supporting illegality, and now telling you, vacate, so that there will be more bloodshed, and they will not blame the security and blame the Nigerian state as a failed state, whereas you are the cause.
Well said, sir. Well said, sir. And up to you, Mr. Gochukwu, sir. This same local government was denied funding by the state government, and I should think that the Labour should stand against non-funding of the local government's arm of government by the state. And right now we are seeing the Labour kind of aligning with the state government in asking for the vacation of the local government secretariats. Do you share that same opinion, sir?
If I have a lot of things to say about it, so because of time, I'm not making any comments for now until maybe if it reoccurs in any of my discussions, because this Labour affinity with the governor, and they are standing with illegality, and in another breath they are telling the security agencies who are maintaining peace, if they know Rivers State as a state of where politicians arm themselves with unemployed youths and idle youths. If they allow these two warring camps to go to the local governments, to drag who is legitimate and who is not, will Labour go to work? So I see it as a call that is unguarded, that is made on sentiment and trying to play Ghana cheap political gain, because the governor gave them 100,000 by December, and during the Labour, on the Labour Day, May 1, he gave them a 100 million. So I see it as we as even Nigerians, we don't know what we want. Please go over to another thing.
Okay, we want to discuss Rivers APC rates Fubara -0. Governor Sim Fubara is rated -0 by the opposition APC caretaker committee in Rivers State led by Tony Okocha. But few weeks after, another rating has come from an independent online media group that has just rated the governor #1 in Nigeria. Okocha addressed a huge press conference where he announced the rating of -0. He was taken to task by media, who reminded him that the governor has flagged up 3 mega road projects alone, and also the 20,000 housing units and the 4 billion naira SMEs and other projects, and also the plans to employ 10,000 workers. Okocha tried to explain that those projects were being sponsored from an illegitimate budget, even when some of them, such as the Port Harcourt Ring Road and the 20,000 housing scheme, promotions, pensions, and many roads sponsored, were from the 2023 budget that had no controversy. Sir, Mr. Emifaga, sir, the APC is rating Governor Fubara 0, although there are some independent media platforms and outfits that has rated him #1 in Nigeria. What is your take on this, sir?
Even the APC in Rivers State led by Tony Okocha knows that what they say is not correct. That Governor Sifubara after 1 year is -0. 0 means you didn't do anything. No? That is what 0 means. You didn't do anything, you didn't achieve anything, you've not done anything. That is 0. But I don't think, I base here in Rivers State, I see Sifubara have done 1 or 2 things. So that 0 does not really, it's not something that we should really discuss, because we know it's just one of those political talks that politicians will always try to push forward. It's not correct. There's no 0 anywhere. That is for that. Then on the other hand, you made mention of some media group, tagging Governor Sifubara as #1 in Nigeria, as first-time governor.
Exactly.
That is their own opinion. This is democracy. Democracy allows people to believe and say what they like. But the point now is, as you say, it will measure it. People like Emi Fieraga will be there, as she was done, to measure that your opinion and try to extract the fact from it. And I want to disagree with that group, that if you say #1, as it stands, Rivers State has no budget. As long as I'm concerned, that is where Tony Okocha is also correct.
Of course.
Rivers State has no budget, because the decision of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, under his lordship, Justice Omotosho, has nullified every activities that was engaged by the ADC illegal assembly.
Yes.
And that judgment to date has not been overturned. And in that judgment, the budget that Governor Sifubara is operating with today was nullified, meaning Rivers State government has no budget until a higher court says otherwise.
That is for that. Then 2, when you say Governor Sifubara is number 1, this is a zenith of sycophancy that have come to see in our days. We have a governor who commissioned red line, blue line, right? We also have governor, if you go to Borno State, go Yobe State, go and see what the governor is doing. Go to the state of governed by Sani Uba, the governor of Kaduna State. Go and see the kind of project that he has done. Now, coming back to Rivers State, where we all reside. In terms of agriculture, because the Nigeria economy is driven by 4 major sectors. The electricity sector, you talk about the industry, you talk about agriculture and the service sector. Now, let's measure the one after the other. In the agricultural sector, what has Governor Sifubara done to ensure food security in Rivers State, or to even boost food supply in Rivers State? It is 0, with 2 eyes in it, right? But we have governors who have encouraged agriculture and encouraged food production in their states. So how is Governor Sifubara performing well or have done well more than this? Okay. Then we'll go to the next industry. Since May 29, 2003 to date, have we had any company that will be established, being a factory or industry in Rivers State? We've not seen any. Okay. There's no partnership in anything. Okay, that is to say, in that sector, it's also 0. Then we go to service sector. What are the policies of government that have actually encouraged service delivery in Rivers State? It's 0. Okay. Electricity, we have Edo State, they now have what they call electricity law. Kaduna State have their own, because they are thinking towards building their own electricity company and the rest of it. What has Governor Sifubara done in terms of electricity supply in Rivers State? Is 0. Okay. So how is it number 1, performing better above others? Okay. So these are the kind of circumstances we have always encouraged, and at the end we will begin to cry where other people are progressing. Okay, so I don't think that this thing is correct.
Putting the question to you in a few words, because we're about to round up. In a few words, do you think that Tony Okocha-led APC or the independent media organization are right in either castigating the performance of Governor Fubara or also promoting him to #1 status governor in Nigeria? What's your take, sir?
You know, I cannot discuss Rivers State in few words. Let us go with what MFA have said. So
okay, sir.
I wouldn't be gagged into using few words on Rivers State matter when you now have latitude of things to say.
Thank you very much. And viewers, this is where we wrap it up on this edition of Open Air on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. I have been with Emi Fiaga, a political analyst of no mean repute, and also with Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us on Open Air.
It's a pleasure.
And you, sir?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, sir. And to you, our viewers, happy Sunday as you go through our social media handles. On Facebook and YouTube is Atlantic Television Network. And on Instagram and TikTok is Atlantic TV Network 1. On Twitter is Atlantic TV Net, or watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. I remain your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, standing in for Laurentia Ogu. And peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Until we come your way, same time next week, have a lovely day.